Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Indian Captains. My name is Shoaib and I'm going to be talking to you about the flight checks in India. So if you haven't yet seen our previous videos where we've been discussing about how to get your commercial pilot license, how to convert your license, what are the problems that you can face while doing all of this, make sure to check out all the videos before you check this one out. So today's video is going to be completely focused upon how you can approach a flight check, what can be expected out of a flight check, what do you need to know, how much you need to spend money on that, what it should be your budget, and how you're going to be completing all of this, what can be expected in terms of proficiency. All of this I'm going to be discussing in this video, so stay tuned. If you are a pilot in India or in abroad, either ways you have to complete this flight checks in India. So it has to be done in an Indian flight school under a designated DGCA examiner. Yes, you heard that right. It should be under a designated DGCA examiner. So if you are a pilot who's coming from abroad who wants to convert his or her license to Indian license, so these are the things that you need to keep in mind. The 5 flight checks remain the same for a pilot in who's completed his CPL abroad or to that in India. So the first one is your 120 nautical mile cross country. So you need to complete 2 cross countries before you give your final 3 checks. So your 2 cross countries are your 120 nautical mile cross country and your 250 nautical mile cross country. So let me get into the first one. The 120 nautical mile night cross country is nothing but a cross country where you'll be flying from point A to point B and returning back to base, but you will be overflying point B. So your total distance of the cross country should be around 120 nautical miles and you do not need to land in any other airport. Just that the cross country also should happen at night. And what is the examiner looking at from this particular exam or from this particular cross country is that how you plan your cross country, how do you measure your distances, time, speed, what are your estimates, your fuel calculations, so on and so forth. So all of that will considered to give you a satisfactory in this particular flight check. Moving on to the second one is your 250 nautical mile cross country. It's something similar to the 120 nautical mile. However, when you fly from point A to point B and come back to your base, you have to do a landing either at point B or somewhere around that. So it's mandatory to do one landing off your base and then return back to base. So the sum total of that should come up to 250 nautical miles. And obviously the cross country will happen at daytime. So that's your second cross country. Again, you need to get a satisfactory from your examiner for the cross country. So once you've completed these 2 cross countries, you will move on to your final 3 checks. So your 3 checks are your day check, night check and an IR check. That is if you are asking for an IR rating on your CPL. If not, it's just your day and night check. So what are these checks all about? So your day check is nothing but a flight check done during the daytime on the aircraft you are asking for or the rating that you are requesting for to be endorsed on your CPL. So when you go for your day check, your examiner is going to brief you what you're going to be expecting out of the flight check. So some of the things that you will be tested upon, obviously your taxiing, your takeoff, your pre-flight before your takeoff, how you manage the cockpit. After takeoff, you will obviously be doing some maneuvers such as stalls, steep turns. You're going to be doing your banks, which is obviously more than 30-degree banks. You're going to be trying all your steep turns, normal medium turns, which is 30-degree banks. So these are your basic maneuvers that you're going to be trying. Apart from that, you're also going to be trying your stalls. So your slow, power on and power off stalls will be practiced as well. So if you're looking at doing a day check on your multi-engine aircraft, then you are also going to be tested upon your VMC demo and your basic understanding about how to react when an engine failure, basically your feathering of an engine. Yes, these are a couple of technical terms, but I'm just going to be on the surface. I'm not going to go in depth so for all of you all to understand. So once all of that is done, you will have to do 3 landings at day and 3 landings have to be obviously satisfactory, and you're going to be judged upon your approach and your touchdown as well. So this sum total consists of 1 day check and you're going to be judged upon various pointers. I'm going to leave the performer in the screen to you now. So you can see on what are the parameters you're judged upon, and all of that obviously have to be satisfactory by the examiner. That's when you have passed your day check. Remember, your day check is not the only exam. You have a night check as well. So basically everything that you did in day will be conducted in the night time, during the night, and that's basically your night check, except that you're not going to be doing your slots. So once your night check is completed, you have your day and night check completed, and if you're looking for your IR check, that's your third check. So an IR check is very simple, wherein you will have to depart from the aerodrome, you will have to do instrument procedures, or you'll have to do basically approaches, right? You'll have to do two types of approaches, one being precision, one being non-precision, and that is basically your VOR or an ILS, so on and so forth. So once you have done your approaches, obviously they can the examiner can also give you some holding procedures in the on a particular nav aid, and that would be it with respect to the IR check. So how you basically manage all of these checks is what's going to be checked, and everything included. It doesn't need to be that you're just going to be checked on the IR parameters. It can be basic things like handling the how you manage the cockpit management, your what you call the pre-flight, the briefings to the examiner, are you taking the precautions, your approaches. So everything is going to be checked on in these flight checks. So this will complete your mandatory fire checks requirement for your issue of CPL. Please keep in mind some of these pointers that you need to keep even though you're doing your flight checks. First things first, you need to basically obviously do your exams with a designated examiner in that particular aircraft or in that rated aircraft. Point number two, if you are an Indian pilot and you have done your training under a CFI who's an examiner as well, then you're not allowed to do your flight checks under him or her. You have to go to another person who has not done your flight training. Or also there's the third point which I was just getting to is that you can't do an exam with an examiner who's your blood relation. Yes, that's right. So your examiner has to be completely a neutral person. Point number four is that all of these checks have to be a minimum of 50 minutes. Please keep that in mind. Anything less than that will not be considered as a flight check. That's as per the rules mentioned by given by DGCA. So and these are some of the important points that you need to keep in mind with regards to flight checks, how it is done. So on an average, if you can take it as 1 hour each, so that's going to be 3 flight checks, 1 hour each, and your cross countries will vary, obviously, can be 4 hours, 6 hours, depending upon the aircraft you fly. And all of this, and all these checks, mind you, have to be done on the aircraft you're asking for the rating. Let's say you are rated on a single engine and multi-engine, then you have to if you have done your flight checks on your multi, then you can just do your single engine flight checks in India and get your license. If you are only multi-rated on your CPL, your checks are mandatory to be completed on your multi-aircraft. So that's the rules and regulations of DGCA with regards to flight checks. So please keep in mind that these are important parameters that are judged and are the final say for your issue of CPL, and these are valid. I mean, these need to be done in the last 6 months. This is again a recency requirement or a requirement to be completed in the last 6 months from the date of issue of your from the date of submission of your CPL. For other things regarding the slots, getting a slot in the school, yes, you have to be persistent about getting a slot. You have to constantly be in touch with the examiners or the flight schools respectively to get your slots in time, because that's quite a task in India to get a slot for your flight checks. So make sure you work on that and do not delay to get a slot. Your flight checks can cost you anywhere between 1.5-2 lakhs to maybe even 5 lakhs depending upon the type of aircraft you fly. So you got to plan well. Again, multi-engine aircrafts will cost you more. So that's about it. I hope you've got a clear idea about how to go about with your flight checks, what to expect, how to plan for your flight checks, and yes, you have to be you should not take it for granted that your examiners are going to be lenient with you. Yes, you have to keep in mind that your proficiency matters, right? Even when you move into your airlines, you are constantly checked for your proficiency on a regular basis. So this is one of those checks that you need to keep in mind. Also keep in mind that if at all you manage to not get through the flight check, then you can't apply for another flight check for I think about 3 to 6 months. So please keep in mind before you go for your flight check, plan well, prepare well, and I'm sure you're going to be doing well in your flight checks. If you have liked the video, leave a like, do comment down below if you have any doubts with regards to your flight checks or anything in the aviation sector. And for those of you who are pinging us with various doubts, we are trying our best to get back to you and explain to you in detail. Make sure if you have reached so far to hit the subscribe button down below, hit the bell to get your notifications, and do share it with your friends if this has helped you in some way or the other. Until next time, take care, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.